Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're unpacking something that's truly fascinating, and honestly, for a lot of you watching, it's probably incredibly personal. We're looking at what's called the high intelligence loneliness paradox. You know, society absolutely loves to tell us that intelligence is the ultimate superpower, right? The golden ticket that just effortlessly opens up every door. But what if for you, it actually feels more like a glitch in the system? What if your brilliant mind is actually acting as a gilded cage, locking you into this cycle of over-optimization, where even just a simple text message becomes a data point to be solved, rather than a human bridge to be crossed? If you've ever felt like a total outsider in a packed room, well, in this explainer, we're going to decode exactly why that happens. Section 1. The intelligence loneliness paradox. Okay, let's dive right into this, shall we? We're talking about that invisible wall separating brilliant minds from the rest of the room. It's kind of like a psychological glitch, where the exact same hardware that makes you brilliant is the very same hardware that makes you an outsider. Picture this. You're standing in a crowded room, someone tells a joke, everyone around you just burst into laughter. But you've already deconstructed the joke, analyzed its premises, and found it fundamentally flawed. Yet, there you are, smiling politely. You aren't being arrogant, and you aren't being cold. You just feel completely alienated, like an astronaut stranded on a planet where the atmosphere is just a little too thin to breathe. It's an incredibly isolating experience for sure. And that perfectly illustrates the core of the problem. We live in a world that overwhelmingly prioritizes the vibe. You know, just hanging out, going with the flow, enjoying the music. But your brain naturally prioritizes the why. While everyone else is just swaying to the beat, your mind is currently running like 24 distinct background processes. That fundamental mismatch creates a profound sense of existential isolation that, frankly, most people are never going to truly understand. Section 2. The hardware of isolation. Let's see how this builds, because it's absolutely crucial to understand that this isn't just a social struggle or some random quirk of your personality. It's a biological reality. The isolation you feel is literally hardwired into how your brain processes the world around you. Research points to this fascinating concept called preemptive rejection. High IQ individuals often possess this hyperactive pattern recognition system. What that means is, when you meet someone, you don't just see a person standing in front of you. You immediately see their contradictions. You spot their insecurities. Before they've even finished their first sentence, your brain has basically mapped out the likely trajectory of the next 6 months of your relationship. And because you clearly see the eventual friction, you stay lonely. You've already calculated the failure, so you reject the connection before it even starts. Vulnerability suddenly feels like a strategic error, rather than a basic social necessity. Now, what's really interesting about this biological process is that your brain is essentially staging a hostile takeover. Your prefrontal cortex, which is your brain center for logic, analysis, and problem solving, is actively and frequently hijacking the emotional processing of your amygdala. You are quite literally overthinking your feelings before you even have the chance to actually feel them. It leads to this state where you're effectively debugging your feelings until they completely lose their human warmth. Instead of experiencing the messy, beautiful reality of human emotion, your biological wiring forces you to turn your feelings into mere clinical observations. You become like a scientist studying your own heart through a microscope, completely removed from the actual experience itself. Section 3. Trapping yourself in labyrinths. The inevitable results of all this over-optimization is that you basically trap yourself in a highly secure, incredibly complex gilded cage built entirely out of your own intellect. Have you ever tried to share your vibrant inner world, speaking this language of deep nuance, only to realize the person across from you is just politely waiting for their turn to talk about, how humid it is outside? It is absolutely crushing, and it forces you right back into your labyrinth. And inside that mental labyrinth, you start treating human connection like a puzzle to be solved. You start obsessing over this flawless blueprint of a partner or a friend who, well, simply doesn't exist. You forget that connection isn't a game to be won with a perfect data points. It's a messy, deeply illogical experience. And as long as you demand a flawless blueprint, you're going to remain perfectly logically alone. Section 4. Embracing the beautifully imperfect. But hey, there is a way out of this. We need to shift gears from clinical analysis to emotional resonance. It's time to step out of your gilded cage of niche interests and start embracing the beautifully imperfect. The truth is, the more you know, the more you realize just how much you have to lose. But this whole paradox only begins to dissolve when you lean into a vulnerability shift. Think about the last time you truly felt seen. I guarantee you, it wasn't because someone finally understood your most complex theories. It was because they accepted the raw, unedited version of you, the version you usually hide behind a massive wall of facts and intellectualism. You have to dare to be incorrect. You have to allow yourself to be entirely unoptimized. So the absolutely crucial point here is that escaping this cage requires real action. Step 1, you've got to consciously trade the maze of your own thoughts for the path of shared human experience. Step 2, you have to burn those flawless blueprints you've drawn up for your life and your relationships. And step 3, allow yourself to just play the game of life without constantly needing to win it or solve it. Section 5. Welcome to your tribe. If you take absolutely anything away from this explainer today, let it be this. You are not broken. You are not fundamentally unlovable. You are simply a high-performance engine trying to navigate a world built for standard transmissions. Finding your tribe requires you to stop trying to think your way into belonging and start feeling your way into connection. And that is exactly what this space is for. Welcome to Mind Unseen. This is a community built specifically for the deep thinkers, the seekers, and the beautifully complex souls who utterly refuse to settle for a surface-level existence. If you've spent your life feeling like a ghost in the machine, well, you finally found a place where your intellectual depth is a bridge, not a burden. Now, I want to ask something huge of you. If this exploration sparked something in you today, if you finally felt understood, hit that subscribe button right now. Do not go back to those standard transmission conversations. Join a community that actually speaks your nuanced language and understands the 24 background processes running in your head. And please, smash that like button. Think of it as hacking the YouTube algorithm for a truly good cause. Your like acts as a massive signal flare, rescuing other brilliant, stranded astronauts out there and bringing them right here to this community. Your engagement literally helps rescue other isolated minds. Next, I want you to jump down into the comments right now and tell me, what is the biggest flawless blueprint you've had to burn to find real connection? Your exact words, your specific story, that might just be the exact breakthrough someone else needs to read today. Your voice matters immensely here. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive. We're building a survival guide for complex minds, and you're going to want to be here for every single step as we continue to break down these paradoxes. Stay intensely curious, my friends. The most important discoveries are always the ones we make together. You don't have to decode this world alone anymore. Thank you so much for exploring with me today. So I'll leave you with this one question. What are you going to do with your brilliant mind today? Build another gilded cage or finally leave the door wide open? I'll see you next time.